and welcome back to the MOCO Collective and our series, the MOCO House Edit, where we show you all of the things that we're doing with our house. And this one is a really exciting one because we are talking to you this week all about land. All about the process in which we used to figure out where we wanted to buy our block of land and what our non-negotiables were in choosing our block of land. We've got a couple of top things that we looked for when we were looking for our land, and let's get straight into it.
The first one we looked at was the general location. So what did we want to be close to? Was it as close to work as possible, as close to family as possible, or maybe it was proximity to shops, the beach, or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
For us, we didn't want to be too far from work. We wanted to keep it around no more than sort of 20-25 minutes maximum.
Yeah. And we wanted to make sure that we were close to amenities, so close to the shops, like within 10 minutes, so that if we forgot something for dinner, we could literally just pop in and grab it. Another really key thing for us that we realized when we were in Brisbane was that we really wanted to be close to a beach. Being able to pop down, go for a walk in the afternoon, take the dog down, that was something that was really important to us. So it was important that we found an estate that was close enough to the beach that we could sort of
just duck down.
The
second thing we looked at was how established the estate was. We wanted to be in a fairly established estate that had walking paths or bike paths, parks, all that sort of stuff, so that it was sort of ready to go when we moved in. And
somewhere that had that real community feeling to it. So I wanted to be able to see kids on the parks and people walking their dogs and, you know, somewhere that we actually could go and enjoy our time outside of our house and not sort of be, you know, ducking cars all the time. We're also in that stage of life where we're starting to think about having kids eventually. But we wanted to make sure that they had somewhere that they could grow up and the streets weren't too busy for them to be able to learn to ride their bike or, you know, those sorts of little things that are quite important when it comes back down to actually choosing a place to live. So the estate that we chose actually has childcare in there as well, which will be so convenient once we do have children. But it's also the fact that they actually have a lot of proposed developments as well. So they're actually looking at having shopping centre in there, that sort of thing as well. But as exciting as proposed development is, it is not a guaranteed thing. And I have a quick story about that one because my family had this experience when they chose the estate that they're living in. Basically, they were told when they bought that there was going to be a park that was developed in that estate. Now, it's been about 25 years since they built their house, and it was only about 3 years ago that park came. It was great. It's a nice park, beautiful when you have kids, but sadly, all of her kids have grown up now. I mean, I could go on the park, but I don't know. It's not really for us now, so be aware that proposed development doesn't necessarily happen on the time frame that they say it will.
The third thing we were looking at was block size. So there's a lot of new estates not too far from where we are. However, they vary in block size available. So the one we picked has a reasonable variety in the range that we were looking for, around the 700 square meters or larger.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other estates that might be closer to shops, schools, work, they had only small blocks available, so sub 500, some
I was going to say,
we're
talking about 300 square meters.
That works for a lot of people. That's not what we were looking for, so we had to look elsewhere.
And you have to think about what is right for you when you're looking for your block. I mean, for us, I didn't want to go really big, and I guess I had originally thought I wanted to go big because I grew up on 2 acres. And I realized that I wanted that developed estate so that I could take them out to the park or I could take them for a walk.
With a little bit of a backyard still, though.
A little bit of a backyard. We can fit a pool and a shed and still kick a ball around. So it honestly is a really great size for us.
As part of the block size is also the style of block. Yes. So they come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, widths and lengths. So some blocks are really narrow, but they're quite long. Others are wider, but not quite as long. And then you've got sort of corner blocks as well. So it really depends on what you want to use your block for, because rectangle blocks are very easy to work with. You just get a standard house, plonk it on, you're good to go. Yeah. Whereas a corner block, you might want that so that you can have access from two streets. You might have a big shed on one side and your house on the other side, and then you can access from either side, which makes it very easy.
The other part of that is that what the actual block slope is
Yes.
really important. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the actual block next week and how we chose exactly the type of block that we wanted.
So when it comes to block shape and style or block size, one really big thing that we were saying is the slope of the block. So we looked at heaps of different ones. We found them online, looked at the photos. The size was really good. The shape was good.
The price was amazing.
Yep, and the price was amazing for a reason. And then the location was also really, really good.
Yes.
But then we'd go and have a look, and
it was this.
yeah, so heaps of earthworks required, or a split level house, or your yard disappears down a hill. They looked really good in the photographs that they put
Yeah.
online, but it's really deceptive. So you have to make sure you go and have a look, or at least get someone else to go and have a look for you, so that you can be sure you're not buying a block that is really, really sloped and not going to actually work for what you want. The last one is the cost, and this is a deciding factor for pretty well everyone. You've got to balance each of the other things with the cost and your budget. So your budget might say that you need to live a little bit further away from work or a little bit further away from the beach so that you can get what you want.
And that's very important in metro areas, honestly. Like when we were looking at building in Brisbane, we were looking at least a 30-minute drive to get a block and house price that was going to fit within our budget.
It really comes down to what is most important for you. Is it the location, your proximity to work, or proximity to the beach or parks or something else?
Or whether it's the size of your block. We would love to hear below if there's any other things that you considered when looking for your block, because it's too late for us, but we
Might help someone else.
might help someone else. We are loving posting on our Instagram at the moment, showing our inspo and all of the updates, because things are happening.
Now that we're settled, there's a lot going on.
Ah, it is so cool. So make sure you check us out at the MOCO Collective on Instagram.
In the next video, we're going to go into a few specific things that you should check when you've narrowed down your search to maybe 2 or 3 different blocks.
So that you get the exact right block for you.
Yep.
We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.